Hi, right. Look at the astrology now for December the 2nd to December the 8th. That's the week ahead of us. I'm doing this on Sunday, December the 1st, and we've got Moon in Aquarius at the moment with everything that goes with that. But let's focus on next week. And next week is kind of quite a time to focus on because Jupiter has a sign change which is going to have consequences right through the year, right through to 2020. It's quite a big change. Jupiter is going to enter Capricorn basically, and it's going to be in there for a long time. It's going to change the nature of really what Jupiter does, to be quite honest, because all that sort of expansiveness, the joy and everything that you get with Jupiter, even, good luck is really strongly associated with Jupiter. It's going to sort of be restricted, but I don't want to make that sound too negative and too bad because everything in astrology on a personal level comes down to what's going on in your birth chart, what's going on in the various different houses. I mean, for example, Aries tends to be seen as ruling the first house, but depending, is Aries your rising sign? Is Aries your sun sign? What sign have you actually got in Aries in your birth chart? It's, really, really open. And this is something that people often get wrong about astrology. A lot of people who don't follow astrology poo-poo it and say, it's no good and it's meaningless because there must be more than 12 kinds of people in the world for the 12 signs of the zodiac. And of course, that's true. It is very random. So I'm not saying that anybody is actually going to be restricted in any of these areas. It's just a restriction on what Jupiter is actually going to be able to bring into our lives. Jupiter is quite a far-flung planet. It's outside the, it's just about into the outer solar system there. So the effects tend to be quite subtle. But when Jupiter is in Capricorn, Capricorn being the grounded, earthy kind of sign, you could almost say the no-nonsense kind of sign of the zodiac, it's the sign of the goat, isn't it? And goats can kind of climb up straight, sheer walls and things because they're very sure-footed. And they will actually take on really difficult tasks because they know they can hang on to it. So it's, very grounded aspect coming into what Jupiter is all about, then it is really going to ground Jupiter. But it could be very, very positive if you're doing grounded, earthy kind of things. You know what I mean? Because it is actually going to bring all the Jupiter influence into that. We will have to see how we go. But that is going to be the case right through until December 2020. So it's quite a big change, If you think the Neptune was retrograde from from June, I should say, right through to, I think last week actually, it was, November, the end of November before Neptune came out of retrograde. Think of how long that was affecting us. Think of how long the dreams and the general vision of life was affected by Neptune. Then, it's going to be twice as long as that, basically. It's a big change, it really is. So that's happening on Monday the 2nd. That's tomorrow as I'm doing this right now. And I hope I manage to get it uploaded sometime today because my internet is very retrograde at the moment. Things won't upload and I can't seem to watch much in the way of videos. So I'm going to upload one. I don't know. But have faith. That is the thing with Capricorn and Jupiter coming together. And actually just about any alignment in astrology. The more positive you can think about it, the more likely you're going to get something good coming out of it, because again, that's just the law of attraction, isn't it? Really, if you expect to have a bad time, it's not going to be good. So keep looking up. That is always the advice. Keep looking up. So that's going to be right Monday the 2nd. Also Monday the 2nd, the moon is going to enter Pisces at 11:11 p.m. Pacific time. It's not actually until Tuesday the 3rd in the rest of the world. So Tuesday the 3rd, that brings us here. Let's have a look at this. And Venus is going to sextile Mars on Tuesday the 3rd. Now that is going to affect the positivity of love and sex coming together, and they pretty well do come together. There's no separating those two things. Sex is part of the human expression of love in so many ways. That's love between consenting adults, for want of a better word, and there are of course many other expressions of love. But that is likely to become quite positive, actually, because the Mars energy, although it's often associated with arguments and conflict, is it can be a really positive energy. That just kind of, again, depends on the law of attraction, who you are, where all this is going on in your birth chart, etc. So look for positivity around that, because it is going to be findable. It really is, on and after Tuesday, the 3rd of December 2019. So the moon is entering Pisces, 11:11 Pacific. In Eastern Standard Time, that's going to be 2:11 a.m, so you'll be waking up to that. We may be waking up to that in UK, because it's going to be 7:11 a.m. here. So that is going to be 8:11 p.m. in New Zealand, on that side of the world. And, New Zealand is a very big place, and the time zone varies a bit there. But I believe that's for Auckland, I think. I'm just about getting my head around New Zealand, and it's been many years, but hey, that's the global nature of the internet and everything. I love the way it brings us all together. I'm just trying to get my head around it. As vast a subject, though, the world, as astrology is, and astrology is bigger than the world, really, because it stretches right out into the solar system. And this really is why we see retrograde motion of planets. They never actually move backwards, but they appear to move backwards just as we view them from Earth, because they're so far away. And they're very much doing their own thing, as much as it plays into our own lives. So that's Tuesday the 3rd, or of course, late on Monday on the Pacific side of the States and Canada. Wednesday the 4th, we get to second quarter, when the moon becomes over half full, and that's when the energy is really starting to build up. There wasn't too much going on last week, as the moon was just growing from zero and just becoming visible in the sky again. But I went out late one night, and there she was, Grandmother Moon, really obvious in the sky. And you could almost see the full circle, although it's just a crescent bit. Well, after Tuesday the 3rd, she's going to be gibbous. That means just more than half full. Kind of that shape, rather than just the crescent shape that we have been used to seeing in the last few days. So that's positive, really. The moon influence is going to be that much stronger. And so let me see now. I've got some various scatty looking notes here that I'm trying to make sense of. Wednesday the 4th, second quarter. Yeah, that's it right now. On Thursday the 5th, the moon is going to enter Aries, and that is 12:15 a.m. Pacific, so only just into Thursday the 5th. And I think you'll actually be seeing the effects of that on Wednesday the 4th, which is why I wrote it down in rather a confusing way. Because all these things, these aspects, right, they're applying aspects. They're going to be the next thing to happen. And as they come towards us, we start feeling the influence. So I think you might very well be aware of that on the west side of Canada, on the Pacific coast of America on Wednesday. But it's Thursday, really. Moon in Aries, 12:15 a.m. Pacific, 3:15 a.m. Eastern here in UK, 8:15 a.m. and I'm making that 21:15 p.m. In New Zealand, in Christchurch. Or is it Auckland? Oh gosh, I don't know, but much later in the day in New Zealand, that's the bottom line of it. And then things are fairly quiet until Saturday the 7th. And then we get, and this again depends whether you're on the Pacific coast of the States and Canada, or the East Coast or UK, or this side of the world, basically. It's 11:29 p.m. on Saturday the 7th. The moon is going to enter Taurus. That's on the Pacific coast. 2:29 a.m. on Sunday the 8th, 1 week from the day I'm doing this, on the East Coast. UK, 7:29 a.m. next Sunday. Moon in Taurus, and New Zealand, 20:29 p.m. So that brings us then to Sunday the 8th. And then we get an alignment going on which kind of takes the energy out of things a bit, and it involves Neptune. So there may be echoes here of what was going on with the Neptune retrograde, because Neptune will actually be in the post-shadow to its retrograde right through until March of 2020. So it's quite a long stretch. And basically, Sun is going to square Neptune. This is a great time really to relax and not avoid stress altogether, because you just couldn't get out of bed if you were going to try and avoid stress altogether. But it's going to bring a certain amount of kind of confusion, maybe even some disappointments going on. But generally speaking, that's going to be a time of low energy. And that's next Sunday the 8th. Okay, folks, well, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks ever so much for watching. Thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. Share me around the internet a bit if you can. And, have a fantastic Sunday, what's left of it. Have a great week next week. You really could, actually. I've pointed out some slightly negative things there. But remember that law of attraction. Keep on looking up. Keep on thinking positive. It's the only way, really, that you can do anything about it, that you can affect it. And people who can think more positively get a lot more out of astrology and everything else in life. So think positive. Have a good one, and I'll see you very soon. Peace.